Hello everyone, tonight I bring you a tale that has haunted the oceans for centuries. A mystery whispered in the salty winds and written in the forgotten logbooks of doomed sailors. It is the story of a cursed ship that sailed without a crew, a phantom vessel adrift on the endless waters, carrying with it questions no one has ever answered and fears no one has ever silenced. Imagine for a moment the vastness of the ocean, where the horizon seems eternal, and the silence is broken only by crashing waves. In that lonely expanse, to see a ship sailing with full sails, yet not a single soul aboard, is perhaps one of the most terrifying sights a sailor could witness. Our story begins with one of the most famous cases of all, the Mary Celeste, but it does not end there. Across history, legends of ghost ships have appeared again and again, and every time the mystery grows darker. The Mary Celeste was discovered on December 4th, 1872, drifting aimlessly in the Atlantic Ocean. The crew of the Day Gracia spotted her, sails torn slightly but still catching the wind. From a distance, she looked like any other merchant vessel, but as the rescuers climbed aboard, the silence was deafening. The food was still in the galley, untouched meals, waiting as if the crew had left in the middle of eating. The cargo was still secure, barrels of alcohol barely disturbed. The ship itself was seaworthy, and yet not a single crew member remained. 10 souls, including the captain, his wife, and their 2-year-old daughter, had all vanished without leaving a trace. No blood, no signs of violence, no broken furniture, nothing that suggested a struggle. It was as if the sea had swallowed them whole without warning. Theories arose quickly: mutiny, piracy, a sudden storm, even sea monsters. But none explained the eerie state of the ship. Why would trained sailors abandon a vessel that was perfectly navigable? Why leave behind all their belongings, even their lifeboat ropes still hanging, suggesting they had left in haste? The Mary Celeste remains one of the greatest puzzles in maritime history, but the Mary Celeste is only the beginning. Stories of ghost ships go back centuries, each with its own chilling details. The Flying Dutchman, for instance, is a legendary vessel doomed to sail forever, never reaching shore. Sailors throughout the 17th and 18th centuries swore they saw it, glowing with an otherworldly light, appearing suddenly out of the fog. To witness, it was considered a bad omen, a warning of disaster to come. Even in more modern times, naval officers and seasoned captains have claimed to see phantom vessels vanishing as quickly as they appeared. Was it hallucination born of the sea's isolation, or something far more supernatural? Another case that chills the bones is the tale of the Ourang Medan, a Dutch freighter in the late 1940s. According to reports, distress signals were picked up by nearby ships. The Morse code message was simple but horrifying: all officers including captain dead, lying in chartroom and bridge, possibly whole crew dead. A chilling pause, then another transmission: I die. When rescuers boarded the Ourang Medan, they found every crew member dead, their faces twisted in terror, mouths open as if screaming. Even the ship's dog was found dead, teeth bared. The bodies showed no signs of injury, no wounds, no blood. The rescuers barely had time to investigate before a sudden fire forced them to flee. Moments later, the ship exploded and sank into the depths, taking its mystery with it. No official records of the ship were ever found, leading many to wonder if the entire event was a cover-up, a government secret, or simply a sailor's tale exaggerated into legend. Yet the details of the frozen, horrified faces continue to haunt those who believe the story is true. What connects these ghost ships together is not just the absence of life, but the presence of fear. To see a ship sailing with no crew is terrifying enough, but to step on board and feel the weight of silence pressing down is something only a sailor could understand. Imagine walking through corridors with plates still laid out, clothing still hung, and journals half written, yet no living being remains. It is like walking into a place where time has been interrupted, where reality itself has been suspended. These mysteries push us to ask questions that stretch beyond the natural world. Did these sailors vanish into another dimension? Were they victims of secret experiments at sea? Or do curses linger in certain waters, taking lives without explanation? The sea has always been a place of mystery, and ghost ships are its darkest whispers. Some believe powerful storms could drive men to abandon their ships, but that still does not explain the meals left untouched, or the fear etched on the faces of the dead. Others suggest piracy, but again, why leave behind valuable cargo? More extreme theories speak of alien abductions, where entire crews were taken in an instant. There are also those who believe the ocean itself is alive, with forces we cannot comprehend, claiming lives whenever it pleases. Whatever the truth may be, the cursed ships remain silent witnesses of the unknown. As our story deepens, we will travel further into these mysteries, uncovering lesser known ghost ships, ancient legends of vessels that never returned, and the chilling possibility that some of these ships still drift today, somewhere in the uncharted waters, waiting for another ship to cross their path. But before we move deeper into the dark seas of history and myth, let us pause and imagine you are standing on the deck of your own ship, the wind sharp, the horizon endless. Suddenly, through the fog, a vessel appears. Its sails billow, its hull creaks, but as you call out, there is no answer. You see no movement, no shadows. The ship draws nearer, silent, inevitable. Would you dare to board it? Or would you turn your vessel away, praying you never cross its path again? This is the mystery of the cursed ship that sailed without a crew, and this is only the beginning. The mysteries of the sea have never been confined to one century or one coast. For as long as men have sailed across the waves, there have been whispers of ships that vanish, crews that disappear, and vessels that return home carrying only silence. To truly understand why the cursed ship that sailed without a crew continues to haunt our imagination, we must dive deeper into history, tracing stories from every corner of the world. One lesser, known but chilling case is that of the Kaz II, often called the ghost yacht of Australia. In April 2007, a sleek white catamaran was discovered drifting near the Great Barrier Reef. When rescuers boarded, they found the engine running, a laptop still open, and a table set for a meal. 3 life jackets remained on board, but the 3 men who owned the vessel were gone. There was no sign of struggle, no distress signals, and the boat itself was perfectly seaworthy. To this day, no trace of the missing men has ever been found. The eerie similarities to the Mary Celeste shook the modern world, reminding us that the age of ghost ships is far from over. Across the world, similar tales arise. In 1931, a Canadian sealing vessel named the Baychimo became trapped in ice off the coast of Alaska. The crew abandoned her, believing she would sink, but she did not. For decades afterward, the Baychimo was spotted drifting aimlessly across the Arctic seas, sometimes seen from afar, sometimes boarded by explorers, but always slipping away again into the frozen mist. She earned the name, the Ghost Ship of the Arctic, haunting those icy waters for nearly 40 years before disappearing forever. Was she finally swallowed by the ice, or does she still roam beneath the northern lights, a lonely wanderer of frozen seas? Legends are not only built on sightings, but also on the fear of curses. The Octavius, a ghost ship said to be discovered in 1775, became one of the most frightening stories of its era. According to the tale, a whaling ship off the coast of Greenland came across a 3-masted vessel locked in ice. When the sailors boarded, they found the crew dead, frozen in place as if still alive. At the captain's desk sat a man with a pen in his hand, mid-sentence, preserved by the cold. The ship had supposedly attempted the dangerous Northwest Passage, but became trapped, drifting for over a decade before being discovered. Whether truth or myth, the image of a ship full of frozen souls sent chills through every sailor who heard it. But why do these stories endure? Perhaps because the ocean itself is the perfect stage for mystery. Its depths remain unexplored, its moods unpredictable, and its silence absolute. On land, disappearance leaves footprints, clues, and traces. At sea, disappearance leaves only water, shifting endlessly, washing away every secret. A ship may drift for months before being found, and in that time anything could happen. Theories flourish in the absence of answers: mutiny, storms, disease, madness, supernatural forces, alien abduction. The truth is often far less exciting, yet no less unsettling. Sometimes men vanish because of fear, because of panic, because in a single desperate moment they made the wrong decision. But when you walk through a ship and see food still steaming on a plate, logs half written, or faces frozen in terror, the rational explanations fall away, leaving only dread. Take, for example, the mystery of the Carol A. Deering, an American schooner found run aground in North Carolina's Diamond Shoals in 1921. The ship was discovered intact, with its sails raised, its galley stocked with food, but every single crew member was gone. The ship's log and navigational equipment were missing, but no lifeboats were ever recovered. Some whispered that it was the work of pirates, others believed Bolshevik revolutionaries had seized the crew, and some suggested the Bermuda Triangle had swallowed them. The U.S. government investigated, but no clear explanation was ever reached. The Deering joined the long list of ghost ships, its fate sealed in silence. There is also the strange case of the Joyita, a merchant vessel found adrift in the South Pacific in 1955. Like the Mary Celeste, her cargo remained. Her radios were tuned to emergency frequencies, yet her entire crew of 25 people had vanished. Strangely, the vessel was found in poor condition, yet still floating, a testament to her construction. Investigators speculated everything from sudden leaks to piracy to Japanese involvement, but none could explain the lack of bodies or wreckage. The sea had swallowed them whole, leaving only questions behind. What makes ghost ships so terrifying is not merely the absence of answers, but the possibility that we may never find them. Unlike crimes on land, there are no courts of the sea, no neighbors to witness, no footprints in the soil. The ocean guards its secrets jealously, keeping the truth buried beneath waves and time. Each discovery of an abandoned ship is a reminder that for all our technology and knowledge, the sea remains untamed, unconquered, and filled with shadows. Yet these stories also invite us to wonder, what if the ships themselves are cursed? Sailors have long believed that certain vessels carried ill omens, either because of tragedies during their construction, dark events in their past, or malevolent forces attached to them. A cursed ship would bring disaster wherever it went, killing crews, vanishing mysteriously, or reappearing years later with no one alive aboard. The Flying Dutchman itself is often described as cursed, its captain doomed to sail forever for defying the natural order. Superstitions about renaming ships, launching them improperly, or angering the sea gods were taken seriously because men believed the sea had ears. Perhaps some of these vessels were doomed not by chance, but by fate. Still, the most chilling thought of all is that some of these ghost ships may still be out there. The ocean is vast, and not every vessel is accounted for. Somewhere beyond the shipping lanes, beyond the reach of satellites, there could be ships drifting endlessly, their sails shredded, their decks empty, waiting to be discovered. Imagine stumbling upon such a vessel today, in the age of modern navigation. Would you dare to step aboard, knowing the history of what came before? Or would you turn away, leaving it to drift forever as a silent warning to others? The cursed ship that sailed without a crew is not one ship, but many. It is a story repeated across generations, across oceans, across time itself. It is a reminder that the sea holds mysteries far beyond our understanding, and that sometimes the greatest horror is not what we see, but what we cannot explain. So when you hear the crash of waves and the whisper of wind against the mast, remember these tales. Remember that there are ships which returned without their sailors, vessels whose journeys ended not in ports but in silence. And perhaps even now, one such ship drifts somewhere under the moonlight, waiting for its next witness, carrying with it a curse that has never died.